What up, y'all? It's it's gonna be Wednesday. Well, I mean, see, that's tough for me. It's Wednesday. Nah, I'm recording this a day early. But anyway, it's Dearly Deep Heart Id. Um, I just wanted to do a video and record, Wednesday's episode for y'all. And I just wanted to. I'm gonna just jump right in, because I'm sure a lot of y'all have listened to, like the latest episode. And, you know, it was a part two, basically. It was a part two. And, for me, like, I really enjoyed listening to that episode. I really did. Because, of course, it gave, like, a lot of, once again, like a lot of content, a lot of back and forth, some disagreements and stuff like that. So that's what I said. Like, that's what I want to happen on the podcast. I want people that can actually, you know, say what they feel. You know what I mean? If you don't agree with something that I say, call me on it. You know what I'm saying? But I must admit that I kind of had not a big issue, but I had a small issue with the the narrative that I felt like was being driven by 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 my guest. And we've talked about this already. So it's not, nothing going behind nobody's back or nothing like that, but like I did with that one episode when the one chick was lying and all that. Y'all remember that? But yeah. What I'm trying to do? Hold on. Trying to flip the camera. There we go. I got on live again. It's probably not even gonna stand up. But boy, you supposed to be in the bed. Once again, the only person gonna join my live. I'm only recording this so I could have a record of it and save it. Go to sleep, child. Anyway, I can't even sit this thing up. It's not standing up. Whoops. Whoops. I'm pushing. Whatever. Anyway, what I was trying to say is, so with the latest guest, we had some some disagreements, and I kind of just I wanted to go back over the situation because, like I said, I wasn't really feeling like the narrative that was being driven on that latest episode. And I let her know that it felt a little bit negative. And I'm not about the negative, like at all. Not about the negative. So I'm not going to go deep into the conversation that I had with her, but instead, I wanted to make it positive for me. So the truth about it is, I'm going to dedicate this episode to my ex. Yeah, you heard it. Dedicating this one to her. Since people want to kind of feel like, oh, you doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't still feel those feelings. Like, come on, man. This is life. Like, just because the things I do and say don't align with, what you go through, or, you know, like what you've been through, that doesn't mean that I'm wrong or I'm doing too much. So, at the end of the day, it's like you can't tell someone how to feel, first off. You can't tell someone how to feel about someone. You can't tell someone how to feel, period. So I'm going to get this little part out real quick. When someone is explaining something to you about how they feel, maybe let's talk pain for a quick second. If somebody's telling you something hurts, you can't go and tell them, oh, get over it. Like toughen up. I mean, in some certain circumstances, are a little different. Like my son, he wrestles. Hello, child. So, I tell him like, hey, I know it's painful, right now you may not want to work out, but you have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go through that. And even with, what is that? Even with, with that, it's like still, you're gonna, like working out, you're gonna go through it. I get it. You're gonna go through, stuff or whatever, and you're gonna end up, probably being better through it. But when I'm sitting here and I'm telling you how I feel about somebody, don't try to, and I'm not saying this is what she did, but I'm saying like, don't try to make me feel like I'm wrong or I'm tripping or, some of y'all might have heard her say like, oh, I'm starting to feel like you're depressed. Like for me, that was, yeah, that was kind of, that was offensive to me because as much work as I put in for myself, to not be quote unquote depressed, you know what I'm saying? Like for somebody who, I know it may have seemed like we had a cool relationship and stuff like that, or we were familiar. I won't say like we were cool, but that we were familiar with each other. At the end of the day, like, we don't really know each other that well. And, like I've had close people, ask me, like in the past, not now, but not during this time, ask me like, am I okay? How am I doing and stuff like that? Yeah, because they know, what I'm saying? They know the situation, but people that know me have really embraced me and what I'm doing with the podcast and have told me like, I'm glad you're doing this, like I'm glad you're not tripping off of the situation like that. I get it, it's a podcast, but I can see, you're you're good and you're happy. And other people around me, look at me as, like a joy to be around, So, and I'm talking like at work, new people that I've met. But just some of the stuff that I was saying was, I just didn't really like how the narrative was being driven. Like I was depressed, I was sad, I was still going through it, especially also since she hadn't actually listened to the previous episodes. Like maybe she didn't get the jokes, you know what I'm saying, that have came on. Maybe she hadn't listened to, all of the the jokes that were, on me, like the people going in on me, like the advice and, the other episodes that I've had where I've pretty much had these same conversations. So I always wanted to be fun and playful. I welcome anything. I'm opening myself up to be, ridiculed, like I said, with the Naturally Unbothered podcast, when they came on, it's like, but at the end of the day, like, they didn't know me either, but the way they kind of did it more so felt like they were really trying to help me. And I guess that's what I was talking about with her earlier. Is like, it didn't really feel like she was trying to help. It just seemed like you just wanted to assess me as being something wrong with me because of the profession, she's in. And like I said, I shouted out the analytical skills because I felt like some of her stuff was outside of the box. But then when I explain myself and give you more backstory, then your narrative is squashed because you didn't really understand. So, I just had to, just let her know, hopefully she's not mad at me, but it just kind of inspired me to do something more positive. And like I said, I'm dedicating this one to my ex, period, because I'm going to just start it off straight up like this. I love her still. I'll always love her. Like, period. Nothing outside, nothing's gonna come in and make me not have feelings for her. And when I say I love her, I mean I love her. That means how you can say you're in love with somebody. I'm in love with my ex still. And I don't think she listens to this at all. It's possible, but I don't think she listens to this. If she does, it's nothing that I'm going to say now is going to surprise her. She knows. Trust me, she knows. Like I said, I text her still, like real talk. I still text her when I am, feeling down, or not even really feeling down, but like even when something good happens, you know what I'm saying, to me. Like, these are the practices that most people would say, hey, don't do that anymore. Like, stop hitting her up. Like, let her tell me that. Let her tell me that now. Because I'm going to be real. Yeah, like I said in the past, like, yeah, when we stopped talking, she let me know the real and was like, it's over, it's done and stuff like that. She may have, I don't think she told me don't ever hit her up again and stuff like that. She probably said she don't want me to. But that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Like, let her tell me, let her tell me don't hit her up no more. So, getting a phone call. Gotta hit you back, baby. But yeah, let her tell me that. Like, that's not up to nobody else, because at the end of the day, nobody can tell the future. And like, maybe I am tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I am going through it. Maybe this is the way I'm going to get over it, but it's not going to come from somebody telling me what to do. So again, I'm about 12 minutes in. So I'm going to just go ahead and, you know, basically jump right into it. This one is dedicated to my ex, and I want to talk about some good times that we had. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, like, it was a lot of them. Like, I've talked about, our first meeting, basically how we met. You know what I mean? How we met was, it was a cold winter night. That's the truth. It was January. I'm not even, I always forget, but I think it was like January 16th on the Saturday night. We was both ended up at this club. And like, I remember just being kind of like feeling like out of place. Like, I was so ready to go. I was like, man, this is like, it wasn't that it was whack or it was boring, but I was just like, there's nothing going on in here. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. And like, I've told the story before. I had my son that day. Not like he was born, but I'm saying, like, I was watching him that day, and this was a rare occasion. His mom was basically like, I told her, like, yeah, if I might go out tonight with my boy Dream. Shout out Dream. I might go out tonight, but if I do, I'm gonna bring baby boy back. And she was fine. She was like, yeah, that's fine. No big deal. And normally that doesn't really happen. Normally he stays. And like, he was about 2 at the time. But so my boy hit me and he was like, hey, we going out. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And like I said on the last one, like, I remember basically saying, like, hey, I wanted a friend, and I'd had a friend, but we weren't as close. And I'm talking like a friend. It was, I've mentioned her before, but briefly on here. We were really cool. We ended up getting cooler after all of this, but I wanted someone who I could be with and be close. It wasn't necessarily looking for a girlfriend. But anyway, so we do go out that night. I'm sitting down ultimately the whole night with a beanie on, just really not really feeling it. And then my boy walks over and he's like, D, what you doing? Like, you been sitting down the whole day. He like mouthing it, like lipping it to me like, hey, like, get up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, fine. So I get up. And as I'm, just standing there for probably like a minute, 2 minutes, I just feel this hand just touch like the back of my elbow. And I turn around. And like I didn't even see her because she was shorter than me. I'm like 6'2". Used to say I was 6'3", 6'4", but I just never really knew. The doctor told me that. It used to be on my ID. So I don't really be into all that kind of stuff. But anyway, thinking she's about 5'7", 5'8". Maybe then, I don't know now, like I said. But when I turn around, I like look over her head, and then I look down, and I'm like, oh shoot, like wow, this person is beautiful. But I had thought it was somebody else that I knew. She looked, like somebody else that I knew. But then I was looking hard, and I was like, this is definitely not her. But anyway, so I guess immediately I had that comfortable feeling. And like, if you know me, that doesn't really happen a lot. So ultimately, this was 2010. So, we danced like all night. And I actually, a few years ago, when, Spotify became popular and all of that, I ended up making a 2010 playlist, like for her and for me. And, like I called it the 2010 time travel because, like that's the year we met. So got California Girls with Snoop on there, OMG, Airplanes, Love the Way You Lie, Eminem and Rihanna, the remix, just a bunch of songs. But the one song that I remember dancing to her, you know, dancing with her was Bedrock. I don't think the song. I think that song actually came out in the year before, but that song was on, and that may have been like the last song. Maybe that's why I remember. But I remember dancing with her, and then I just remember like the lights coming up. You know what I'm saying? And then I look around, and I realize like, shoot, this fool done left me. The boy done left me in the club, and we rode together. So I'm just in the club with her. And she's in like, I'm trying to, big him up. Like, I'm like, nah, he probably had to whoop, 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 go do this. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Cause they getting ready to leave. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just, I'm going to hit him up. But he actually, I don't remember, was we texting? Yeah, we was texting back then. It's only 2010. I'm not that old. But anyway, so yeah, I get the text or the call or whatever. And he was like, hey, I had to take somebody home, blah, blah, blah. I'm about to come back. So, they like, yeah, okay, he gonna come back. And I'm like, nah, for real, he gonna come back. So I'm like, I could walk y'all to the car, blah, 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 blah. I still hadn't got her phone number yet. Actually, I may have. No, yeah, when the lights came up, I got her phone number. But I was like, yeah, I'll walk y'all to the car. And, she was with her cousins. So she was like, well, we could just take you home if you really, if you don't come back. And I'm like, nah, he gonna come back. Like, that's my boy. He gonna come back. So we walk around like the corner to where their car is. Remember, I think I said I had on a hoodie, but it wasn't zipped up. And so what happened was, I'm with her at this point, and she kind of like, she got in front of me. I was like, you sure he's coming? I'm like, yeah, he's going to come for real. And so she was like, okay, and then she grabbed, like my collar and the zipper, and she zipped it up, like to make sure that I was warm. And like, the only other person that did that to me ever was when my cousin used to do that, then pull the hood over my head and then pull the strings really tight and then run. That's a true story. So she did that, and it was like, again, like this immediate feeling like this is different. Like, just really in the club, to be honest, like I said, felt a familiarity. But once we walked and once I saw her, I was like, this is it. Like, this is exactly what I asked for. Like, I'm never, like, this is it. This is going to be my one for the rest of my life. I had no idea what that meant, but I knew that she was going to be the person who was going to be a staple in my life. So I knew it then. So as she's doing that, I turn to the street and here come my boy. Like just like I said, he pulled up and they walk to their car. We wave goodbye. I'm like, I'm gonna hit you. And back then, that's when you used to make sure you hit up the chick. Once you got home, make sure she was cool. So I waited because I was like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to do too much. This is like all the stuff I'm feeling. I don't think I've told this in this much detail, but maybe 1:30, something like that. I hit her up just to be like, hey, like just glad I met you. Hope you made it home, kind of thing. I don't remember if she texted me back that night, but I know we talked like the next day or sometime that week. And so when we talked, I don't want to make a big deal about that or whatever, but I know we talked like sometime the next week. I mean, the same week. Well, Saturday. So the next week, like maybe Monday or Tuesday or something. We didn't go too long without talking. And, the first conversation was more or less just talking about life in general. Like, where do you work? Where do you work? What's your favorite color? Brothers, blah, 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 blah. All this, siblings, do you have any? All that kind of stuff. Just the basic talk. Favorite food, like that kind of stuff. And I remember she was like, I think we started talking about religion briefly, but then we had to get off the phone. So she was like, I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna call you back when I get off work. She was like, I'm gonna call you back when I get off work because it called her. I think we was talking like in the daytime or something like that. So like maybe lunchtime. I don't remember. But anyway, so she actually called back. And I didn't think she was going to call back. I thought once we got off the phone, like it didn't feel bad, but I didn't really have, the confidence wasn't there. So I was just like, I don't want to blow her up or nothing like that, but I don't think she's going to call back. So she actually called back. And, just skipping a little bit, I believe we talked for the rest of that week, but our first date, she came over on a Saturday and like I did have my son. No, I didn't have my son. I didn't have my son that weekend. But maybe I did. No, I didn't. I couldn't have had him that weekend because of what happened next. So I invited her over and I didn't have a car back then. I've said that before. I didn't have a car, but we went to what's the little teriyaki spot off Mountain Boulevard. I know the name. I just really can't think of it right now. But first, the club we first met at was Paradiso when it was downtown Oakland. But anyway, so yeah, we went to the little teriyaki spot by the Safeway. If y'all from Oakland, East Oakland, it's where it's at. And we went there and we ate, we talked again. We joked, we laughed. It was fun. And then I was like, let's go to my house to watch my favorite movie, which is, guess. No guesses? What's your guess? Nope, not that. Nope. Mm-mm. It's Fight Club. It's Fight Club. So we're watching Fight Club. If I haven't never told you let's watch Fight Club, I don't really like you like that. Sorry. Nah. But yeah, so basically we watched that, but this is when I knew that she was something different. So while we're watching the movie, she gets a text from her cousin. And her cousin's like, hey, we're partying at blah, 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 blah. You want to come? And I'm like, tell her no, we on a date, But that was just all in my head. But anyway, so she's like, you want to go to a party? They're like up the street. And they really were up the street. Like, literally just so happened her cousin's boyfriend at the time lived down the hill, not far, but like I didn't live at the top of the hill, and like up the street. So we go over there, hang out with them, and that was cool too because I kind of felt like, okay, I get to know her a little bit. She's not afraid, or she doesn't mind letting me meet like her family, and this was a close cousin. So we go hang out with them. I remember her cousin for some reason told her to get, and I guess this is what she liked, some crackers and cheese. No, not crackers. These was a granola bar and cheese. Oh, and also, I'm not sure if this was the same night, but that's the same night. It might have been the same night that she took this book. This might be a different night, but she took this book that I had got from when I worked at Tower Records called How to Be a Ninja, and it's like a comedy book, but it's so funny. I just recently found it again, but had to find it again because she took the book and gave it to her cousin. Like, I'm telling you, this is a different kind of woman. Like, she took the book. She said, "Can my cousin has to see this." So she took it and she put it in her purse. But it's a book. It's not like she stole money, like some of y'all just trifling chicks have done to you. Anyway, I could just hear somebody saying, "You didn't have no money for her to steal." Nah. But so maybe that was that night, maybe it wasn't. But anyway, so we go hang out with them. It was cool, and then we ended up just going to different clubs and stuff like that. So we went to, I believe, the Air Lounge. We got to dance again, and like it just started. It's like my life. I just felt it like amplifying. Like I just felt the positive wave just like going over me. Like I became like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like important to myself again, from having somebody who now who I can say is mine. Not saying like we just became official after the second time we saw each other, but I'm saying like that feeling of somebody who's going to call you, after work, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to call you after work, who's going to call you during work, who's back then, yeah, we text, but then we also used to email each other. We used to do, man, it was back then, it was just great. So we rapidly began seeing each other regularly. So I remember it was one night no, I'm gonna back up a little bit. She used to have these wrist things like wrist bracelets or whatever, but it had like the little fake little spikes on there. And I remember I was about to actually, once again, bringing up Dream, he was going to New York for something, and I had never been to New York, so I got a flight with him, and we ended up going to New York. But I remember like just already, like I said, this was like a week after me and her met, like a little more than a week, like a week and a day after me and her met. And I just remember already being that close to her, and like him asking me like, "So like you really like her?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all cool? And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Like these is her things. Like she let me have these like to remember her by, you know what I mean? Like it was just different. And we were younger, but not like super young. So it wasn't like high school, but it felt like high school. Like I was 28, she was 24. And I remember being on like the extra long bus and just like holding it and looking at it. And, I knew I couldn't necessarily talk to her, but I just remember like feeling close to her during that time. And, anyway, long story short, trip was cool except for Jareem got his wallet stolen. Sorry. Had no action with the ladies out there. I was ready to get back to her. I was so ready to get back to her and tell her about my trip. And yeah, so we get back, and again, I don't remember. This literally was 10 years ago, so bear with me. So I just remember like hanging out with her regularly. And I remember one night, like the first night we kissed. She was like, no, back up again. She was sitting on the couch, and we were just listening to music with the lights off, and I think it may be a candle or something. And then she was like, "You can, invite me into your room." And I was like, I mean, I know, but like, I don't really want to. I don't want to be all forward. She's like, no, it's fine. Like, we can go in your room. It's okay. So that was like the first time we kind of like made out a little bit. And it was again, no, we didn't do the grown up or nothing like that. Because it's different when you really love somebody. It's like you just, or when you really like somebody. I'll say that. You don't want to just push it forward. And I actually had this discussion. You don't, when you really love somebody, you don't want to rush that. Not because you're not into their body or anything like that. It's just like they have so much more that you're seeing, that you're getting already, that it's just like sex is like secondary, And again, that makes me think back to our first night. So when we got back home, her and her cousin, I think by then she was with her sister too. They dropped me back off, and like I just remember having this overwhelming feeling of I really want you to come upstairs. It was maybe again, after club nights, about 2 o'clock. It's about 2 o'clock maybe, and I just wanted her to come up. And again, it wasn't a sexual thing. It was I didn't want to leave her yet. I just I didn't want the night to be over. Like I wanted to stay up all night long and just be with her and just talk. Not even go to sleep, not cuddle, none of that. I just didn't want the night to end. And I remember, you know, maybe I mentioned it, but I remember her saying basically, like, nope, gotta go, blah 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 blah, and that was that. And so back to where I was at. So yeah, we did that or whatever, and then that was like the first time. It was amazing. It was great. And then another time, I remember she came over and it was getting late, and she was like, "I'm gonna be in trouble." I'm like, "What you talking about? You gonna be in trouble?" She's like, "My mom is gonna kill me. She's probably gonna disown me. So it's too late now. But I really gotta go." So we go downstairs. I mean, at the time she was living with her mom. So we go downstairs. Walk her to her car and everything, and then she just gave me like this kiss. Like a "I really like you" type kiss, and basically said, "I'm kissing you now because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to see you again." And I was just like, I'm not gonna believe that. We're definitely gonna see each other again. So that's just like, just another memory. Like I feel that moment right now. Like I feel it. It was like I said, she was shorter, so it was real movie like. It was like she jumped up, kind of, had to do the little stretch her neck out to get to me, put her arms around me, and did the little kiss or whatever. So, and then hopped in the car, and yeah, we did see each other again. And then her birthday was coming up. Valentine's Day was coming up first. I remember for Valentine's Day, I actually have another a cousin named Danielle or whatever, but I'll get to that. But so Valentine's came up, and I remember I bought her. I think I might have just mentioned this. We went to get ice cream, and I bought her a I bought her a bunch of water and a card. And I remember in that card, I basically said, something like, "I'm so glad I met you, blah, 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 blah. Please don't ever forget me." And like, I don't know why even then I had it in me that, not that this would end, but even then it was something about it that I was like, please don't ever leave me. Like, it was just, I don't know. It just was a feeling, so I wrote that in the card. And she liked it. It wasn't no big deal or nothing like that. And then she got me a watch. It was like it was a Kenneth Cole watch. I was like, wow. And mind you, we met probably only a month before then. So now her birthday is coming up. So birthday is coming up in about a week, a little more than a week after. So we end up, she was having a big family thing, and I actually have pictures of these. But guess what? They're on Facebook, but I'll never post them again. Hint, hint. You get the joke. But so we go to the family dinner, and I remember one of her one of her brothers. I mean, everything was fine. I ended up buying her some stuff there too. I remember putting it in the car and stuff like that. But one of her brothers, either girlfriends or wives at the time, I think it was his wife. Everybody's going around and, like, saying happy birthday and stuff like that to her. And they get to her brother's wife, and she basically says, happy birthday and blah, blah, blah. I wish you much success in your life and everything. And then she actually says, and, you don't have to, just something like you don't have to like date just this one person right now. You can always keep your options open or something like that. And it was the type of thing that it was like even everybody was kind of got quiet. Like, and that's not the exact quote, but it was basically something like that. She was basically saying like, I hope your dating life, gets better or flourishes or something. Like I was just not the date that night. Like, or if I was, like, she didn't approve. So, and on the last episode, I explained, I think that, on or one of the previous episodes, that for her birthday, we went shopping or whatever, and she picked out my outfit, you know, but yeah, that actually happened. I've always remembered that too. But anyway, positive, right? So we end up, you know, I didn't drink back then or nothing like that, but we ended up like dancing and just having so much fun and, taking pictures and everything. And I think that just like really made us grow like even more, like just that night, I remember a few times, you know, end up like going to like the Alameda Beach and stuff like that. And again, these were real memories, but we took pictures and stuff like that. I remember she wrote in the sand. She actually did the the name and the plus sign and Deontay in the sand with the heart around it and everything. And it was like this was like a dream. Like it's not like I never had that type of love before, but like this was just different, and it'll always be different. And it's like it's unmatched. It's not about me not opening up to it. It's about having something and saying this is what I want. And if it's gone, nothing else is going to replace it. Something else has to come in and be something different. But those are some things that we did early on. I remember she would do stuff like we'd be in the bed or something like that. Nothing getting it in, nothing sexual, nothing like that. But I remember one time leaving my room and or us leaving and then me coming back or whatever, and then I saw like on my wall, and I have a picture of this too. It said, again, blank, because I'm not saying her name right now, was here. She got 3 strips of tape. She put her name on one, and then she put was on one, and then she put here on one. And you want to talk about a letter being on my wall and it not meaning that she knew that it was for her? Okay. I know what I'm talking about. That was my baby. I feel like even in that moment, it was like she was staking her claim. Like, again, it had only been like a month, maybe 2 months at this point. I'm not sure. Might have even been by the summertime because some stuff happened. But, yeah. So, yeah, it was like even then, I'm sure she didn't really necessarily know whether or not, like if I was seeing anybody, because we didn't really discuss that. And we have a guest. Person we were just talking about. I don't know if she might have left because there ain't nobody in the live no more. Anyway, But yeah, so I feel like even then, she didn't know if I was talking to anybody or anything like that or whatever, but she was making sure that she was going to put her blah, 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 blah was here. And she did, and like, I just remember like going in my room and seeing that. And again, like I get gushy over that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, wow, she really likes me. Like it's on the wall. Like she's saying like I'm here. And I remember another night, and this happened like much, much later, maybe like towards the end of the year, kind of skipping a little bit. But I used to have this, well, I still have this huge, huge, huge Gwen Stefani poster from when I worked at Tower Records. And it was for her album Love Angel Music Baby. And like it's like one of the light posters, like for the album promotion and stuff like that. And so it used to hang like on my wall behind, like for art, like on the back in the back of my TV. And then I don't know if she was drunk or she was mad at me. Well, I don't think she was mad, but or like she was feeling some kind of way, some kind of jealousy or something like that. Maybe it's because I had a big old woman on my wall or whatever. But anyway, I come I come in my room and she was basically signing her name on this poster, like big signature. And I just looked at it like, why would you do that? Why would you deface my amazing art? Like, that could have been worth something one day. Didn't have holes in it from hanging on the wall or nothing, but you just wrote your name on it. I'm like, you probably. But then I saw the black permanent marker, and then I signed my name under it. Just signed my name right up under where she had signed hers. And I still have that too. It's in my hallway, and I framed it. And like, there was this, when I moved here, there was this big, like, like, well, it was a mirror. It was like a vanity mirror or whatever. So I just broke it off, broke the wood pieces off or whatever. And it was just like, just the frame of that. And I just put the picture behind it and nailed it into the wall. So now it really looks like art. It looks like something you'd see in an art gallery, and that's on my wall. So she, that's still there too. So I don't know, but anyway, so back to the regular part of the story. So what ended up happening is, I remember we really was in a groove. We really started doing stuff together. We was hanging out all the time. That's when we started, you know, really dating. Really getting it in. What's up, mainland? I ain't talking about nothing. And then talk about who. I'm just recording the podcast. I'm telling the story. I dedicated this one to the one I love, based off of the past one that I just did. If you really want to know, I know you don't be listening like that, but anyway. So yeah. So basically, I got me all thrown off right now. But so yeah, so what ended up, so we was really, dating, doing our thing. And I remember it was like this one night we all went out. It was me and her friends and stuff like that, and family, I think. And it was like the first time I went to her house. But like her mom was there, so she was like, I gotta sneak you in, you wanna see my room? And I was just like, yeah, like, okay, I'll come see your room. And I remember, like creeping through the house and getting upstairs and like finally seeing her room. And again, it wasn't about nothing freaky or nothing like that. She just wanted me to see her room. And I remember she had like all these Pez dispensers, like a collection of them. I thought it was so cool because I like that kind of stuff. I did the lights, young one. I been did that to my room. Well, I ain't gonna say Ben did it. I actually was decorating the room for, once again, you know who, for her last visit. I would never have no lights in my room like that. So now y'all know about the lights in my room. But anyway, and so I just never took them down. But I remember like seeing her. I remember seeing her room, and I was just like, wow, like I'll probably never ever get to see this again. But I remember her bed seemed, like humongous, like it was like giant. But anyway, that's the story about that. But again, so yeah, we were dating, but the thing is, they were getting ready to move. And, I didn't know where or anything like that. I don't think they had a place that they were moving yet. But long story short, when they did move, she obviously moved out of her mom's house and she moved to Virginia. And how I found out about her moving to Virginia was a week before she was moving to Virginia. So I don't know if she wanted to tell me or she just didn't know how to tell me or she really wasn't taking the situation as serious as I was. But I remember sitting in the car with her and she just basically saying like, I have something to tell you. And I'm like, oh my God, she's basically about to dump me. After we had this great day, she's going to dump me. Or tell me she doesn't want to see me anymore. Because we still hadn't necessarily made it official, but you know how that goes nowadays. You with somebody all the time, y'all go together. Or at least it was back then. But just sitting there, she was very, very hesitant. And then she just goes, so I'm moving to Virginia next week, next Saturday. And I just remember like being like, man, like you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like, because back then, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit more tough when it came to her. You know what I'm saying? I was a little bit more tough. So I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, you tell me this a week before. A week before you're leaving. Like, I was like, so are you saying like we're just not like we're not gonna be? She was like, no, like it's not. No, we could still talk and do everything and be together and blah 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 blah. But I'm moving, and I was just like, man, I was like, okay, well, before you leave, we're making it official. I was like, before you leave, we're making it official. Like maybe that wasn't the greatest decision to do, especially if the person's leaving and they're going across the country. But I was like, no, you're mine. Like, we're making this official. So I was like, will you be my girlfriend? And she said yes. I was like, you agree to be my girlfriend kind of thing. She was like, yes. So that was when we became, boyfriend and girlfriend that night. And yes, a week passed and it was a Saturday and I believe it was her brother or somebody was taking her to the airport. But we had been watching, what's the show? Arrested Development. So even to this day, we still have, well, I can't say to this day because we don't talk anymore, but, all the way up until the last time we talked, we always had this ongoing joke. If you ever watch the show, then you know about there's always money in the banana stand. And anyway, we would send memes and gifts and skipping into the future. I'll say, like, I remember how I've said, she kind of comes back sometimes. She would hit me with that line, there's always money in the banana stand. I remember she sent me like a picture or something like that or whatever. And now let's rewind back. So she ends up moving to Virginia. And I had just got this new job. And, like, I hated it. It was basically like a file clerk. So my days were rough. My days were freaking tough. Like, for real. Like, I just remember having to get there a little bit before 8. I think we had to clock in. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I think we clocked in on a computer or something like that. It was just like filing all day. Basically standing up all day with a cart full of doctor files in a medical library or medical file place or whatever. And yeah, just filing all day long. But I was doing good, and I almost it wasn't a permanent position, but I almost got hired. But that's a whole nother story. Told you I felt like I was cursed. But anyway, so during that time, like again, like this kind of brings it full circle to people believing something that they want to believe based off of their previous experiences or what they've heard or what feels right. So when I was there, I worked with pretty much, I think it was like all women, and I was freaking in love. So I'm telling them, oh yeah, I got a girlfriend, blah 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 blah. We're good. She's in another state, but blah blah blah. And of course, you gotta believe it. All they're saying is, oh, she's cheating on you. She's cheating on you. Like, that's all that is. She's cheating on you, blah, blah, blah. There's no way she's in another state and she's not cheating on you. And that was the narrative then. Like that was what was being told to me while I'm sitting here, texting her all day or whenever I could because we weren't supposed to use our phone. Any chance I could. We used to write each other a few times per week. We used to have this notebook, like the Notebook, but because I watched the Notebook with her, so that's where I kind of got the idea from. But anyway, so what we would do is we would write letters in this notebook, and then we would mail it, and then we would just do that back and forth. So we did that like a few times, and so like I was really trying to make this relationship work from long distance, and I had no idea when she was even coming back. And but yeah, the women I worked with the whole time was like, dude, you're tripping. Like, she's definitely cheating on you. But what she's telling me is other stories about, how she misses me and our timing is off. And so she was 3 hours apart. So a lot of times, get late by the time I got home, but we would still make it work. I remember she used to tell me something about the mailman used to always try to talk to her, or the delivery guy or whoever would always try to talk to her, and she would always tell him like, hey, like I have somebody. And I remember this may or may not have been the first time I told her this, but I was like, whenever somebody tries to get at you, you have to be open and honest. Like, don't just say, I have a boyfriend. You got to tell them like, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm in love. Like, so no, you're not going to get anywhere. And so I believe she started doing that. But anyway, so that was just, that situation. And one day, I remember getting a text message, and it was kind of cryptic. So I didn't really look into it. And maybe I've always wanted to fully explain this to her. But she was basically kind of saying like, I didn't believe her, basically. She was like, I'm about to go see my mom or something like that. But she didn't say anything about being out here. So I didn't believe it. I mean, I didn't believe it. Like, she mentioned something about she was going to do something. And I was just like, that's in California, though. So how is she going to do that? So I didn't get excited. I was like, okay, maybe she's tripping or maybe she's just messing with me or whatever. And so the next day, I'm just at home. Then all of a sudden, she knocks on the door. And so when she opened it, I was like in so much shock that it was like I didn't get like super excited. So I felt bad kind of because I was like, huh? Like, you're really here, kind of like, but I wasn't like, oh my God, like, come here. And again, I don't really get excited like that anyway. I mean, it got to be something like, I don't know. But I felt bad because she didn't really feel like I was happy to see her. And I've kind of explained this, but not to this extent. But it was like, back then I really wasn't really that sure about us. I just knew how I felt. I remember like asking her while she was gone, like, is this really what you want? Is this how you feel? What's going on? And it's not like things were bad or anything like that. It was just like, you're gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we really going to make this work? But anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't come off super excited, but on the inside, I was very, very happy when you popped up at my door. This one's for you. And so yeah, so like she was just standing there, and it was even one of those like, "Are you gonna invite me in?" kind of things. So long story short, we end up hanging out that morning, and then she had to leave, and I think we were like, okay, we're gonna hang out tomorrow. I think I went and got like something from IKEA. I don't remember what it was. I got something from IKEA or something like that, and I was building it. So I think it was like a shower thing or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so I did that or whatever. And then I remember texting and stuff like that. I think I went out that night. But the next day, we got to spend like the whole day together. And I'm like afraid to ask when she's leaving. Like, I don't know how long she's going to be. Maybe it wasn't the next, maybe it was like 2 days later or something like that. But I'm afraid to ask, like, when she's leaving because, like, I don't want her to leave. And she hadn't told me when her flight was or anything like that. So I'm not really going to ask. I'm not saying anything. So we're in Berkeley, just chilling. You know, we went to this little restaurant. I remember walking past this. Oh, yeah, she wanted to get a nose ring, you know, like a little stud. So we did that. I remember being sad when it went in because a little blood came out. I could cry right now. That's how much I love this woman. But, you know, it was whatever. She wanted to do it. So we passed this guy that was playing a saxophone, and I'm a big Jack Black fan, Tenacious D fan, Jables and Cage, Kyle Glass. You know, I love Tenacious D, whatever. But Jack Black had this song on Incredibad, and they kept calling the dude the sax man. So when we passed by, like I just remember saying, "Play it, sax man," and this dude got so mad. "I'm not the sax man." I was just like, "Oh, whoa, okay." So we both laughed at him and kept walking. But as we're walking, she goes, "My flight just left," and I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "My flight just left." So I'm like, is she looking like, I'm like, let me look in the sky. Like, let me look up. What does she mean, the flight? I'm like, you see like, what are you talking about? She's like, my flight just left. I was supposed to be on that flight just now. And I'm like, so so you're staying? And she's like, I haven't really decided. I'm like, you have all of your stuff still in Virginia. Like, what? And she was just like, I'll figure it out later. And again, that was just one of those things that just like, I just loved about her. Love about her is that she does what she wants. She she does. She's told me she's felt judged in her life, but it's not enough to make her not do what it is she wants. And that's just like me too. I always feel judged, good or bad. I always feel like somebody is judging me all the time, but it never stops me from doing what it is that I actually want, like still being in love with this amazing human being. But yeah, like that was like one of the greatest feelings ever of her just basically saying the flight just left. And later, like years later, I remember her saying, "Yeah, I stayed for you." Like she didn't want to go back. But yeah, so in the coming months, you know, we pretty much, that was when it just became more real. That was when our relationship became very, very, very real. That's when it was like she was spending the night now. Yeah, we was getting it in. She got a job. Um, like this was now her life. We were actually together, and I think that's all y'all need to know. We went on. I'll end it here. I will end it here because we going on about an hour. We ended up going on a camping trip. And on this camping trip is the first time she said, I love you. I'm in love with you. And that's it. Boom. Dearly Deep Heart Id. This one is for you.